Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Closing Dime. I'm a profitable sports bettor from Massachusetts. I created the Sharp Money Discord with a group of two other profitable sports bettors, Jace Plays and Math Wins. In this video, we're going to talk about how our Discord EV bot is the most efficient way to bet when you're positive EV betting. We're going to talk about line movement and how important it is when you're positive EV betting. It can make your ROI greater long term and just really make your bets a lot more efficient and to really make sure you're beating that closing line 75% of the time, if not more. The number one thing that puts the Sharp Money Discord bot ahead of most regular positive EV bots is its ability to track line movement and the algorithm it uses to find the EV. So in today's video, we're going to go over a few examples of the graphs that present line movement. I can tell you exactly how you should be betting these graphs if the EV is going to increase long term or decrease. The thing with positive EV betting is you're only looking at the value of the bet at that exact moment. Now, if that bet is losing value, it's a bet you don't want to place. If the bet is gaining value and it's a lower EV, that's still better than a bet that has a high EV and is dropping in value. So the line movement is very important, and it's going to help you gain a lot more profits if you just follow line movement and understand how it works. So let's go over a few charts I got here. First, we're going to talk about some main market plays. And our bot uses Pinnacle as one of the Sharp books. So that's the odds we display on the chart. We display the Pinnacle odds and we display the book that is presenting EV so we can see how both books are moving. Now, I'm going to talk about a chart that I would smash, a chart that I would hit at the recommended bet size, and then a chart that I would avoid depending on the odds movement. So let's start with this one right here. We have FanDuel, which is our blue dotted line, and Pinnacle, which is our pink dotted line. So FanDuel has been hovering around this 142 odds for a while now, and they're pretty confident and stable there. Pinnacle is also hovering about 135, but then they decided to absolutely tank down to about 129, it looks like. So Pinnacle is telling us right here that they are receiving sharp money and they're moving their line down. This means this is getting bet quickly, and FanDuel is slow to react. So when we see Pinnacle move their odds down and a retail book leave a flat line, then they are stale to move their line and they're presenting value now. So if this bet was flagged at 3% EV and this line continues to drop in this direction, we could be getting close to 5 or 6% EV come the start of the game. And that's really where you make your money, is by beating the closing line, beating that line right before the game starts, because that is the sharpest line created. It has all the injuries in consideration, has sharp money from bettors, has all the weather concerns, everything, all the news you need is in that last few minutes before the game start. So those are the sharpest lines. And that's why it's so important to beat the closing line, because that's where your true value is present. So let's look at this next chart right here. We have Pinnacle odds, which is the pink dotted line, at 0. If the Pinnacle odds are at 0, that just means they don't have odds out for this bet. As we can see, we have the blue dotted line, which is FanDuel, and they're priced at about 130. Now, when there's no Pinnacle odds available, our bot just devigs completely on market average, which is a good standard, but we like to use sharper books weighted differently. So this isn't what I would call a smash play, but there is value here. And the other good thing too is that this FanDuel line is flat, which means EV is being presented because other books in the market are dropping their lines in favor of this bet. One thing we would avoid is if we had no Pinnacle odds and the FanDuel odds were going from plus 130 to plus 150. If that chart is moving upwards for FanDuel, we'd want to avoid it, because that means FanDuel is presenting themselves as an outlier and really putting their head on a chopping block if they're going to go out on their own as an outlier and present value to the rest of the market. That would show a lot of confidence in the FanDuel line, so that's a bet I would avoid. But since this blue line is stable, we know the market must be moving down, or a different few books just open their lines at more favorable odds, which would make this bet still a good bet. Here, I would just recommend betting the half Kelly criteria, whatever that unit size is. I would bet that. The last bet, if we saw a chart moving downwards like I just explained, I would do a little more than the half Kelly, because Um, there's EV there now, but there'll probably be even more EV towards the closing line. So that's how I would handle this chart. This next chart right here is a chart that I would completely avoid, even though it's presenting EV at the moment. And this is really what puts us apart from most of the positive EV bots. Typically, you're just going to see a play pop up. Hey, this is 3% EV. Go bet a unit on it. It's a great bet. But a lot of times that is not the case. So let's look at it here. Pinnacle is stable at like plus 107 odds here, and they're a flat line. They're comfortable with this line. And we see over the last 10 minutes, because every data point is a 5 minute mark, FanDuel has just spiked their odds. Now they're offering us plus 120 odds when only a little while ago they were offering us plus 100 odds. That means they know something that Pinnacle doesn't. And when it comes to retail books, they basically only move their lines if sharper books move their lines or if there's injuries or something that comes out. On the other hand, sharp books like Pinnacle, their line movement is almost 100% based on sharp betting. So if FanDuel got some news of an injury or something, they might sometimes beat Pinnacle to move in their line. And that's exactly what's happening here. So if we bet this now, most likely what's going to happen is the Pinnacle line is going to come up closer to these odds, and we're just going to have no value by the time the game starts. So this is something I would completely avoid. I wouldn't bet anything on it. Even if it says 3% EV, I would not touch it because you're going to probably lose all your value on this type of bet. I have one more chart I'd like to show you guys. This is a play that I would be betting, and I did bet this, and I actually remember this play. I gained a ton of value before the closing line. So what we have here is we have what we call an opening line. This is the first odds we're receiving from a book. Right here, we can see that Pinnacle and this red line, which is ESPN bet, they're priced at 0, which means they don't have a line available yet. So what we see here is it's not that ESPN is dropping from 0 to minus 150. It's that this is their first data point. They are opening their odds at minus 150. Since Pinnacle doesn't have a line, this is going to be DVIG to market average. So ESPN bet opened up at minus 150, and they're still presenting value to the market average. I remember this bet. I quickly bet on ESPN at minus 150. And within seconds, it moved to minus 160 or minus 170. I know Caesars was priced at minus 200 and FanDuel was priced at minus 175. So that's how we got that market average, and that's how we found value at minus 150. Now that we talked about how the main bot moves, and most of the graphs are going to see with the main bot, we'll talk about the prop bot. And the prop bot can be a little bit more complicated because there isn't just one sharp book when it comes to player props. Now we found that there is seems to be a little bit sharper books when it comes to FanDuel, BetOnline, and Caesars. So those are the 3 books we decided to chart with the book that is also presenting EV. So in this situation here, we have blue chart is FanDuel, the yellow chart is Caesars, and the white chart is BetOnline, and the green chart is DraftKings. So here we see that all 3 of the what we call sharper books with props are favoring this bet by a lot. We have Caesars sitting at minus 157. We have FanDuel recently dropped to minus 155. And we have BetOnline slowly going down to minus 140. Meanwhile, we have DraftKings way up at the top. They've been priced at minus 125 for the past hour, and they are just starting to move their line down to minus 130. So that's a good sign that they're dropping in value. Most likely, all of these bets are going to meet up somewhere in the middle. And if we bet now on DraftKings, we're going to gain a ton of value because it's going to continue dropping from minus 130 probably down to minus 145, minus 150. And that's going to create a ton of value. So this is a play that would absolutely smash. So let's look at a play that is a little different. Still a play that I would take, but it just looks a little different. Typically, the rule of thumb is to not bet in a market that is gaining value, because if you have a play that's plus 130 but it's continuing to trend up, you would just wait and bet it at plus 135 and get better odds. With this chart, it might look like these odds are going upwards, but if you look here, we have BetOnline with the white line and FanDuel, the blue line. They've been sitting at 0, which means their odds have not opened yet. Meanwhile, ESPN at the top has been priced at minus 150 for a long time. They settled in with that line. So what happens here is BetOnline opens up at plus 120, and then FanDuel comes behind and opens up 5 minutes later at plus 125. Now ESPN Bet is sitting there at plus 150 when the rest of the market is at that plus 125 range. So this is where two opening lines are going to create a positive EV bet on another book that is not keeping up with the market. So we would take this on ESPN Bet, and we would assume we could probably get this at plus 150, and it's probably going to drop down to that plus 125 range and agree with the rest of the books. So this is a great play to take. Those are the main type of graphs you're going to see. Obviously, there's a million variations of how the graphs could go, but those are the real common ones. The one I didn't talk about was a prop situation that I would want to avoid. And that would just be if, same thing with the main bot, if a book is raising their value, if their chart is going upwards and they're the bet that is being flagged, I would avoid it because they're making themselves an outlier. They're making themselves an EV bet to the rest of the market. So they're confident, or they have some news that the rest of the books don't have yet. So that's a bet that I would avoid. So I hope this helps you guys out. As you know, I just started the company, Sharp Money. We opened up a Discord, and our goal is just to educate sports bettors about positive EV betting, some other betting strategies, how to take advantage of promos, all that good stuff. If you like profitable sports betting, check out all my videos. And I'm going to put the link to the Discord below. We have a free portion of the Discord where we can educate you guys on some strategies. We share certain promos, and then we have the paid section. This paid section is where you're going to find our positive EV bot and some call outs from some sharp bettors. So our positive EV bot is going to cost you $19.99 a month. And that comes with all the price movement and charts like I showed you. There is no other platform that I know of that is offering odds movement for even close to this value. I know to access odds movement for OddsJam, they advertise it on their platinum plan, and that costs $2,000 a month. So you can start for $20 a month, start your profitable sports betting journey, go make some money. I'll see you in the Discord. Let's go.